child that benefited greatly from the program, so, and they did as a family, and so I see it has real value. I could certainly see the wisdom of trying to locate it somewhere that had walking access to a high school program and maybe opportunities for support. Seems to me like Century could be a pathway for some of these students where they could move from the restricted program into something, baby steps toward toward rejoining, and so I like that idea, and I think that it meets such a need that I can't imagine stepping away from it at this point in time. But I think it could if we could find the space and the way. I think Century would be something I would certainly be receptive to.
No, we weren't looking at removing the program at all.
No, not at all.
I understand
It's
that.
a facility place.
Yeah, facility is really.
Jenny?
In terms of locating them closer to one of our high school campuses for elective purposes, are we going to be able to address their, like appropriately address their needs with anxiety for being at a larger campus if they're taking electives?
Some do already. Some walk over to TO High School and do take an elective there. We sometimes send one of the para-educators with them, or we pair up the students. So we do, it really actually is like personalized learning in the program. We really do individualize it to each of the students.
Okay, so this would just make it easier for those students.
Yeah, and I think it could be then more incorporated into the overall program. You know, that is something that is connected to the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whether it's on Waverly's campus or closer to one of our high schools, Waverly is close to Thousand Oaks High School.
Yeah.
And they fall under Thousand Oaks rosters and things like that. So while Thousand Oaks might not be the best placement, you know, when we look at Century and what we're doing, that might be the better placement because it is the walk right there is just on that back part, and it gets you right in Thousand Oaks.
And do Century students, can you remind me, do they take electives through the,
They
through the
haven't.
main?
They haven't taken, that I'm aware of, they haven't gone to Thousand Oaks High School for electives the end of last year, the beginning part of this year. Century kids, have they been taking any?
We have students from Century that go to their home school
Right.
for band, choir, and maybe some electives, but I think that basically athletics, choir, and band,
Okay.
orchestra.
Bill?
So there would be room at the new Century, which is on the Horizon Hills campus.
Well,
Or
I
would
think
We don't know yet.
that's a
We've
leap.
gotta-
Yeah, I don't think we're there
That's
yet.
somewhere, we gotta see where we're at with it. So
Right.
I see.
that's why we're not bringing the
Yeah,
solution.
right.
We just wanna make sure that the board
We're
was
on-
aware that we will be looking at solutions.
That would be something I'd be very much in favor with. First of all, they'd be surrounded by high school kids instead of preschool kids. And
Preschool there too.
I'm sorry, you're right, there's both
Kids
there.
and
Yeah.
gardens are okay.
Oh, and that brings up another question. Would the parents in the Horizon Hills program be objective like the parents at the university program to moving them there?
Well, that's a
That-
parenting program, not a preschool.
And we're on that transition now with Century being on that campus, and I think as long as we continue to work with Ms. Green and her program and space that they need allocated and what's available. I mean, those are the things that we would work out with.
But I like that location for the reasons that we've already talked about, that it's close enough to TO, that they could get some, you know, they get a wide variety of electives and even possibly whatever they can fit into his class.
So it sounds like there's interest and support from the board. Carry on. So given that we're coming to the end of the time period that we allocated, because we said 12:30, right? Or am I, yeah, so,
15.
is there anything else you would like to, or shall we, open it up now to, board board having a few minutes, and do we have any public comment, parts minute? All right, so we don't need reserve time for that. So why don't we just, utilize our time? Bill has indicated he wants Cindy to go first. Is there anything, that you would have liked to have raised or put on the docket for the future that we didn't discuss today, in a minute or two?
Well, I know one of the things that I'm interested in is already on the agenda. So I'm pretty good. You were very thorough in, all a wide swath of topics that we covered today. So, and the inclusion of Waverly would have been what I would have put on there. So Waverly, and also post-secondary, just because I'd like to see what we're doing with that. And I feel like that's not, our families still don't know that they have that option, even if they're in, so.
We have some dates scheduled for a board presentation
Yeah,
on that.
so I figured, but, so those would have been my additions.
Sandy?
So one thing is the air conditioning issue at, some of the schools that I am hearing lots of complaints that the kids are hot, and the teachers are hot. And why is the air conditioning? Can I ask, or just?
Yeah, I mean, Victor can fill you in. It's, we have a lot of air conditioning units and a lot of spaces, and, that's off for most of the summer because of the savings that we have. And when you start them all up, we ran into some issues. This is, we feel bad about it too. And Victor and I were both over at M&O yesterday, problem solving and trying to figure out what our steps are to correct it. But I don't know, Victor, if you have something on that.
So we do have a lot of our air conditioners need to be replaced or need parts that are replaced. So, I mean, some of these are just routine mechanical things that have to be repaired. We do have 3 full-time HVAC techs that are out at the schools, and they're hitting through the work orders as fast as they can. It takes sometimes a while to diagnose, because if there's an issue in one room, it's attached to other rooms, so you have to trace back which compressor, where the issues are. So it takes some time to diagnose a problem sometimes, but the techs are out there working. We did institute a way to improve communication at the site, so the HVAC techs are now checking at the main office and letting the office manager or principals know we're here to check this or that or whatever else. And they're communicating quickly back to maintenance and operations, because the issues that aren't mechanical are software related to the new controllers that were installed. So because they're still under warranty, the company that installed them is handling all those pieces. So we've also instituted an improved way of holding them accountable to make sure that they're following up on the issues that are happening on the programming end. A lot of them they can handle in the back end because it's all done through the computer, so they're doing them without having to visit on site. But if they don't, they have to dispatch somebody to the school and then try to trace the problems that way. So this is I've been here, this is my 4th year. It's been every summer we have these issues when everything kicks on. So I don't see anything out of the ordinary for this year, other than just some of our stuff just needs repair and maintenance. It's no different than technology or anything else that we have is mechanical. So they are out there, they are hitting the work orders as quick as possible. They're also improving how they're notating in the work order system, what the response is to whatever the work order is. So whoever submitted the work order can go in and see what the status is or what was done to correct it.
Sorry.
And then my other, I would have liked to have seen us address as a board and start making a plan for how we're going to address community concerns about sex education. I realize that some don't want to talk about it or address it, and I think that if we've got the FAQ page, but we haven't reached out to find out, is this effective? We just implemented it and figured that would resolve concerns, but there are a lot more concerns than what the FAQ page has. This has been an issue that's been going on in Orange County for a couple of years, and this curriculum has been available for a couple of years, and or more, districts started implementing it in 2016. And so it's out there, and so for when we say, oh, it's not available, and, you know, we don't know what you're talking about, it's like, I mean, everyone has seen Positive Prevention Plus stuff goes around the internet quite frequently. There is a lot of concern about what we would do in the elementary school, just all of those kinds of things, and I thought it would be appropriate as a board that we discuss that we address those concerns. And I think at the board meeting, someone said we're not making the decision until November of 2020, which I thought was odd because the school year has already started and we're gonna make a decision in November of 2020. So I think that this is not going to go away, as much as, you know, some may want the concerns to go away. They're not gonna go away until we have made our decisions and people know what to expect.
So
And-
you're asking for additional communication with the public and more scheduled agenda items for the topic of sex ed?
Yeah, or even like a board discussion where,
Maybe a separate
it was
discussion meeting.
Yeah, because it was asking a bit much to come the night before the first day of school when all these concerns are swirling around and then have all these other
Sure,
topics
but
that were.
let's focus forward on what it is that you're hoping to have happen in
So-
the future. Is there anything other than scheduling a special discussion meeting, and providing better and more extensive communication? Something
Yeah.
focused forward.
And also going forward, if people could comment during public comments so they can go home, that's what the city council does. And I mean, there's old people, there's people who have to get up at the crack of dawn and then they're there till 1 in the
So I'm
morning.
just
So
gonna-
going forward, I
yeah.
would say,
Yeah, so that's,
allow people to speak to items of great interest to the public during public comments. If they feel like they can't stay until the very end of the agenda.
you have
So-
registered your objections to that before. As board president, that is not a change that I am going to make. And when there's a new board president in December, you can attempt to prevail again on them to make that change.
Okay, but it's considered rude, just so you know. And
It
it doesn't make us as a board look good or us as a district look like we're willing to.
I understand, but
to listen.
that is not the point of the meeting today. So I'm gonna stop now and go on to ask if Jenny has anything else that you were hoping we could focus on going forward that you haven't had an opportunity to discuss today.
Yes, one being, the potential of expanding our homeschool program. And I know we've had some discussions on that, and we have that new role that was filled.
It was first day.
Okay, oh, awesome, great. So I think that, those discussions have started, but I'd like to see more in-depth conversations about that possibility. And then the other big topic, which came up in another context today, is childcare. And evaluating our school sites that have waiting lists. I know we have issues right now with getting enough staffing. I know we have some issues with having the facility room, but to me, that's a really crucial need for a lot of families in our district. So I would like us to look at what our options are for better addressing that, and making sure that we have as much space as possible on campus, for the families that would like to utilize our on-campus childcare.
Bill?
I guess my thought was, relations and conduct within the structure of the meeting, such that maybe instead of like one topic and one person dominating for long periods of time, so that we forget different things without writing down, that we break things up more so we can have group discussion on different topics more frequently.
So are you talking about allocating a certain amount of time per board member to comments on
Not in
an
total,
item?
but at one time, yes.
On a single agenda item, or moving on after a certain period of time and rotating like we did here today?
Yes, yes.
All right, okay, noted. if there isn't anything else, having gone 15 minutes over the allocated time, I think, Dr. McLaughlin, are you comfortable with ending the meeting? All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.